Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. Now, I got to go back to Oppenheimer. I talked about him yesterday. I saw the movie yet 2 days ago, and it's still going off. The atomic explosion is still going on. Rolling thunder of Oppenheimer. So let's get into this again today. I can't let it go, and I hope you have seen it or will see it. It's on Peacock, so you can sign up for a couple of bucks and watch the movie and then sign off. That's the way we watch TV now. You can sign up for an app, watch the movie, and then get off. So it's cheaper than renting the movie. Anyway, I digress. The title of this talk is Split Your Atom. Split Your Atom. Now, the movie Oppenheimer was like bookends. It was a 3-hour historical documentary about the creation of the atomic bomb, the end of World War II, and the beginning of a new age, the atomic age, in which we are now living. And we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know. In the 50s, it's almost like the movie was that the 50s was the 50s, there was certainty. And I'm 87, I was there. In the 50s, everyone knew their place. In other words, it was it was the last stable decade. It was the last decade where there was no doubt about truth and what's real. Everyone knew their place. The blacks knew their place. The women knew their place. The gays knew their place. There were no trans. Everyone knew their place. Watch Mad Men. Watch Mad Men again. But anyway, the idea, and then in the 60s, of course, there was civil rights in the 50s, but it was like a stirring. It was like a fetus kicking. There was a fetus kicking with the beatniks, and with the civil rights movement. It was kicking. The 60s was kicking in the womb of the 50s. And Elvis. It was all there in the 50s, but it was kind of like a stirring. A stirring, you see. And then in the 50s, it was born. This new world was born. This new America was born, screaming, creative, yelling, great music. And now we're living in that, you see. We're living in the afterbirth. And Oppenheimer is pointing to that through the very factual documentary of the creation of the atomic bomb. So it has Oppenheimer has when you look at it metaphorically, which is the way I see movies, it's an explosion of revelation. It's not just a historical story. That's the problem, is we see movies as just this. In other words, it's just history. Well, it's interesting, but it's history. It's not a revelation from you. It's not a revelation. It's not an atomic bomb that goes off in you. When you get a new idea, when you get a revelation, when you see, that's an atomic explosion. When you get an idea that changes your world, it may be an idea to create a business. Maybe it's the idea of getting married. Maybe it's the idea of seeing where you've been an asshole. Whatever that idea is, that idea will go off like an atomic explosion. If it doesn't feel like an atomic, it's not an idea. An idea is not a thought. An idea creates a world. So Einstein had an idea, and it created modern physics. Oppenheimer had an idea, and it created the atomic age. And Einstein couldn't go there. That was a big deal in the movie. There was bookended by Oppenheimer and Einstein, in the beginning and the end. And they disagreed. Why? Because the world Oppenheimer saw, the world that was being a Kensho, so to speak, an awakening, a Buddha awakening, this idea was of quantum physics and the uncertainty principle. The uncertainty principle. You see, in the 50s, there was certainty. In the modern world created by Newton and Descartes, there was certainty. In fact, the modern scientific world created in the 16th century was to replace the certainty of God. You see, in the Middle Ages, everything was certain because God said it was in the Bible. If it was in the Bible, it was certain. In other words, it was a certain fixed world. It was a fixed world. And then science came along and blew that out like an atomic explosion. Scientific empiricism doesn't need God for truth. It blew it out. So it has a new measure of truth. Empirical truth. In other words, the truth your senses tell you, and then that truth is verified through experiments that are agreed upon by other scientists. In other words, if it's just your truth and you can't prove it, then that's alchemy, the science of the Middle Ages. But the science of the modern age that has created this world of comfort and all of our heat and cars and the whole thing that we live in, this massive world of things and technology and all, was created by the explosion of science. And so now we've come to the end of the modern world, and we're living in the postmodern world. And we don't really see that because you were living in a fishbowl. You can't see the fishbowl. And I remember living in the 50s. I didn't see the 50s like we see the 50s now. The 50s was just what is. It was just what is. If you had black and white toilets, that's just the way things were. Couldn't be any different. But then, you see, that certainty, that placement of everything, that fixed relationships, the fixed roles. Everybody had a role. Everybody had a function and a role, a caste. And you didn't break your caste, you see. You didn't question the world. Because if you did, it will create an atomic explosion. If you question reality, it will create an uncertainty principle, and you don't know what's going to happen. So that was the point of the Oppenheimer. They created this. We can create this atomic. We can split the atom of the known. We can split the atom was believed in from the Greeks. 3,000 years. There was a belief that there is a thing, a substance that cannot be divided. You can't divide the atom. It's a thing. It's like a marble. And all of science was built on that marble. It's the thing, it's God. It's the God particle. It's the God particle. You can't do it. They're still looking for that damn thing. What's the God particle? You can't split it. And it's that one thing that can't be divided that creates certainty. If you can build on that one thing, your structure is certain. That's what Descartes did. He said, what's the one thing that I cannot doubt? He was trying to bring order to the modern world. Since you got rid of God, and you couldn't doubt God, but if you doubted God, then what are you going to build your world on that is certain? And so Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. That is what I cannot doubt that I think. So that was the atom that he built the modern world on, the science that we live in, that we work in now. It was that atom that cannot be doubted. Now, Oppenheimer, quantum splits the atom. It splits the thing that cannot be doubted. And what is that thing that cannot be doubted that quantum splits? The thing that cannot, the atom that cannot be split is certainty. The belief in certainty. The belief in certainty created the modern world. Because science, the scientists, the modern science, not the postmodern, but the postmodern science is built on the belief that you can know truth. Given enough time, enough computers, you can be certain about what truth is, about what reality is, you see. But quantum came at the end of the modern age, and it split the atom and created an explosion of uncertainty. Not on the objective level, the physical level, you see, the atomic bomb is about a bomb. But on the metaphorical level, the atomic bomb is the explosion in you where you doubt what you have believed in. What you doubt, what you thought was certain, what you thought was undoubtable. You see. So in the 50s, the last decade of the modern age in America, most people didn't doubt the placement, the place table, the pyramid. What was the pyramid of the 50s? Well, white males are on top, and then you got women, and then you got categories of people, blacks, gays, workers, whatever. It's like a pyramid, but the white male was the son of God, was the placemaker. The whole reality fit together because of that pyramid with the white male at the top. He was Father Knows Best. Remember that show? Anyway, so I'm trying to break through the crust of Oppenheimer and let it reveal its depth to you. Let it reveal the atomic explosion in you of the uncertainty principle. That was the whole thing about the atomic bomb. They were asked, are you certain that if you create this atomic bomb that it won't keep on exploding and blow the universe? No, there's no certainty. Pretty sure, but I'm not certain. Pretty sure, but I'm not certain that the atomic bomb explosion will not set off a Fisher explosion, a chain reaction that will not blow up the universe. See, that's the uncertainty principle. You don't know for sure. So it creates a great question. Now this is Zen. Zen creates, it's called the great doubt or the great question. Zen creates, if you want to practice Zen, you have to be willing to question who you are. You have to question the certainty upon which you structure your world. This is an interior world. You have to question what is your truth. You have to question your beliefs. You have to question everything. Everything, you see. And most people can't do that because we don't know where it will stop. That's a house of cards. If I pull that certainty out, the whole thing may collapse. Then where will I be? I'll be in psychosis, you see. I'll have nothing to cling to. I'll be falling. I'll end up in a ward. You see, unless I have that one thing, that one atom that I cannot split. So awakening, Zen awakening, there's many, not just Zen, but I use that as a comment, is something that we can relate to. It is the arousal, the stirring of the great question. Is what I believe true? Is what I anchor my whole life on true? Is it real? You see. So when that is, for me, was what Oppenheimer was about. The arousing of the mind, it's called prajna, the arousing of the mind that does not rest on any certainty. The arousing of the mind that does not rest on form, which is the forms of the world, all these, or thoughts, or feelings, or choices, or mental states, or even my sense of self. Can I doubt even that? Is that not the atom that cannot be split as far as I'm concerned? This sense of who I am, this certainty that I am this thing, this body, this certainty that I am this thing in time. Well, is there time? Can I doubt time? You see? So this is an awakening, this is an arousing, a stirring of a fetus in the womb of the mind. What shall I be? What am I? When that stirring happens, that light of lights lights off in you, you're Oppenheimer. You have split the atom. You have created an explosion of awareness that has no end, that has no beginning and has no end. It's an explosion of awareness, and life is awareness, so it's an explosion of life in you. It's an explosion that has no beginning and end. So this is the way I take this Oppenheimer as an external, certainly a documentary about our history, but at the same time, it's a metaphor for awakening. A Zen koan, if you will. And anyway, that's where we'll end today. I hope you see the movie, and I hope that the way I see this movie will help you get a wider view of the movie. To get a wide-angle view of the movie instead of a narrow, focused view. Oh, it's just about history. That's interesting. No. It's a wide view, which includes you in it. Your life, your awakening. Split the atom. Awaken the uncertainty principle. Awaken your life. Life is uncertain. Very simple. Awaken life, and you've aroused the uncertainty principle. And your life won't be the same again. What it will be, well, who knows?